Paul's already excited. He's unwrapping his gift. Paul's the type of person that wanted somebody's gift for Christmas. You're like, can I open it? I want to open it.
Nope. We got our ass kicked for even thinking that when we were
Yeah.
Oh my God, look at all the paint on the inside of your car.
It's like unwrapping a present.
A little more tedious than that.
I was gonna say because the person who wrapped it really freaking good.
Yep, not bad. Not bad at all.
I can deal with that. All right, so it looks like when we were taking the tape off on the back window here, it was taking the butyl tape off on the window. Oh, yeah. Okay, so what you got there, Paul?
Oh, my phone's ringing.
You got a phone call.
Uh-oh.
What the heck happened there? A little bit of dirt on it. So okay, what do we got there, Paul? Is that that's Wizard's rubbing compound?
Wizard's turbo cut.
Turbo cut.
And really, you should be using the wheel on it, but I just want to do a little spot here and see if it's going to clean up or.
You think we might have to go to the hardware store and get some?
Oh, yep.
That just snap?
Yeah, that's old shit. Hear the difference?
Yeah, it's like
Doing a razor blade commercial. Here, 17-inch razor blade over here. Over here we didn't use it.
Yep.
Hear that?
Now what's that one? Is that a different one?
This is the Shine Master.
So that's the polishing compound?
Polish it and seal it in. Well, that's pretty messed up.
Whoa!
I don't know if that's going to work.
Junk?
Yep.
Then for this next part, we wanted to see how much polishing would change the way the hood would look. So we decided to polish one side of the hood with the Meguiar's Ultra Cut compound, which is, I believe, Meguiar's 105. We went through a pass on that, then went to the finishing polish, which I think was Meguiar's 205. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite enough for what we were looking for. You'll see in these next few clips here that it just wasn't really shining up very well, so we decided that the best plan of attack was to go with a 1500 grit wet sand, and that is definitely the way to go. This ended up just taking a lot more extra time, and so you will see how much of a difference that 1500 grit wet sand, then going to the Meguiar's 105, then the 205, and yeah, it looks amazing.
You can hear it.
As long as you don't, I don't know what color your primer was, gray probably.
Yeah, light gray.
As long as you don't burn through it, you're fine.
It could happen.
I mean, even just a, you know, well, I mean, yeah. Normally you'll just start seeing gray.
Right. Great. Oh yeah.
Get your goddamn finger out of there.
Looks pretty good. And that is a humongous difference though between the two sides.
Mm-hmm.
Looks really good.
Brought her right to life, eh?
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Yep. Sand and polish away.
Yeah.
That's what it's gonna take.
So we're going around the entire car with scuff pads, which has my sphincter clenched pretty a lot when you're touching a car with this, a freshly painted car. But as Paul will explain why we're doing that. Go ahead, Paul.
That damn painter. With the conditions that we had, it came out pretty good overall. Although, you see kind of what kind of light we have. Ran out of paint at the end of the gun right on the hood, of course. So that had some dry lines in it. We had to get those out. Had a couple little dry spots here and there on the top end of the car. So we're basically, excuse me, scuffing that off, sanding it with 1500 possibly. Once we get it cleaned off to get it nice and smooth, then we will compound it and polish it, and should be nice and shiny ride by the time we're done. So that's kind of what we're doing with this step, and hopefully this will be the last step, folks.
Fingers crossed.
Nice and smooth.
We're definitely taking the paint off, as you can see. Unfortunately, when we were sanding this hood here, we're sanding with the 1500 grit right here in the corner, and it's like barely noticeable when you got the light right on it, but if you take the light off of it, you can see with just natural lighting, this spot right here, that is going right down to the primer. And so that's just why you got to be really careful hitting your edges with the sanding block, and you won't run into that issue, but it happens quick. It was like within one stroke, Paul knew right away, whoop, we went right through. So you just got to be super careful with what you're doing. And this is acrylic enamel paint. I'm guessing, Paul, that this is different if we were using a base coat, clear coat, a lacquer-based paint, water-based paint. I mean, everything's different. So this is particular. What's that?
They're all different. Acrylic
Right.
enamel is normally harder paint, but we got a little tooth in there.
Yeah. So, and plus acrylic enamel paint is extremely hard, like harder than other paints, right?
Yep.
So you kind of have to be a little bit more abrasive with this. I wouldn't recommend doing this with any other style of paint. We'd probably want to just do a normal wet sand with sandpaper if you're confident enough, or just using rubbing compound and seeing if you can get the polish out of it. Or just find another occupation to do. If you're not gonna... We could have always done that, Paul. We could have just not done it. No.
I tried to get you to clear coat it when it was spotted.
What the frick, man?
Wouldn't do it. I don't know what's your problem.
Just clear coated while it was, yeah.
Damn city boys just can't stay in your car looking like a cow, can you?
Heck no, man. He kept telling me to jack this up with mud tires and lift and...
Four-wheel drive suspension on this dog, and We have a 4-wheel drive Corvette.
Cow
A Corvette.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Corvette. Lady 2, the
Would have
Corvette.
been driving it by now, having a heck of a good time.
I literally bought. We did this all just so it could be lawn art, look nice and pretty in the lawn, and that's it.
Shake it, baby.
So now we're just wiping down the whole car, getting all of that loose paint off, all that dusting.
Dusty stuff. Get rid of the dust. Dust is not good.
All right. So there's a couple spots right in there that got some of the flaking from the primer into the paint, and so we're gonna try to sand them out. Paul recommended 400 grit.
I'm going to try it with 1500 again first, just to see how much of it I can get out.
Yeah.
So one spot that was there, it's pretty much gone. I can see where it was, but it needs a little bit of paint there now. I don't want to do that too bad.
Yeah. So he's just kind of going through. Problem is, though, is once that comes out, you're going to see a nice chip in the paint, won't you?
It's actually smooth right now. I could just try to fog some paint on there, and you can barely even feel it now.
Wow.
Run your fingernail across it. Did you feel like
No.
fingernail catch on it?
That's weird because like this is something always when you're watching videos on YouTube of people doing this kind of stuff. You always think that it's like how am I gonna know because this looks really wicked, like wavy and this and that, but it's all it's all by feel. I think that's one of the biggest things I've learned doing this is like it's all by feel, and they always tell you that, but it's like until you actually feel it yourself, you have no idea what the hell you're doing.
Okay.
So since Paul is very stubborn and he can't stand looking at that hood and that side door where all the paint flaked off, he's gonna repaint it. Put a couple of coats on there, and yeah. So we'll see how that works. I'm gonna let him focus. So as I stated in the previous clip, Paul decides to paint the parts that we missed on the hood and on the side of the door there. But unfortunately, we weren't at the correct temperatures. It was a little too cold, and so it caused a little bit of runs in the paint. We unfortunately had to stop after this, and so this is where the video stops. After this, we had to store the car for the winter, and basically I've been editing the entire 10-part series this whole time, but I'm not done yet. We really want to show you the car fully polished, and I plan on doing that on the next episode here, so be sure to stay tuned for the next episode in the Corvette Restoration. Thank you for watching.